Welcome to video 4 of our favorite books lab. So in step 4, what we're going to be doing is creating a custom book cell. You do not have to create the cell the same way I'm going to be creating it, but the one thing that I want to highlight is you want to make sure however you create your cell that it gets populated with the correct information, and it must contain all of the information in the book object, which is the title, author, genre, and length. So let me start the application up. So what we did, the first thing we did let me expand this, in the last video was we went into our book cell and we made sure that the style was changed to a custom. It went from a subtitle to a custom. So that's our first step. So the next step, what we're going to do is I want to increase the size of the book cell so the information up here is easier to read. So the first thing I need to do is I need to increase the size of my table view. I'll increase that to 200, and then in my book cell I'll use a custom size and I'll increase that to 150. Okay, so I have that increase. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a vertical stack view into the cells. And what I want to do is I want to make sure in my vertical stack view that the distribution is set to fill equally. Okay, so that's set to fill equally. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and constrain it. So it's the same size of my book cell. And I will go ahead and add those constraints. Okay, so what we're going to do within this vertical cell is we're going to have 4 cells. The first one is going to be a label, and that label is going to hold the book title. So I will drop that label in. I want to go ahead and change the font of it. I want to change it to a bold, and I want to increase the size to a 20, and then I will update what's held in there. That will get updated after we've added books, so it'll be a title. Okay, so that is the first, will go in my top vertical cell. So in the next 3 vertical cells, we're going to add in horizontal stack views, and each of those horizontal stack views will hold 2 labels and a spacer. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and find a horizontal stack view, and I want to make sure and drop that in that it's below my title. And then what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and look for a view object. I want an indentation to the on the left hand side, so I will go ahead and drop that in so it's underneath my stack view. And then what I want to do is I want to go ahead and change the width of that, so I want a 25 pixel spacer. So I'll go ahead and change that to 25. We have some constraint problems right now, but those will be alleviated after I add 2 labels. So let me go ahead and type in label. We want to add another label, and we don't want it in the view, we want it on the same level of our stack view, and then I want my view on top of it. Okay, so there we go. So we have our view, then we have our first label, and then what I want to do is I want to add my second label. So I'll drop that into the stack view. So the next thing we need to do, like we did in 4.6, the actual lesson, is we need to go ahead and click on this first label, and what we're going to do is we're going to change the content hugging priority. We're going to update it to 252. so that the label that includes the actual author's name, genre, or length has first priority when everything is sized in that cell. Okay, so it looks like I have everything I need in my stack view. So the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create 2 more stack views. I'll do a Command C and then a Command V and 1 more Command V. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll go ahead, click on my first one. That is going to be for the author. So I will go ahead and update that to author. I'll click in the second one. That is going to be for our genre. And I'll go ahead and click in the third one, and that is going to be for our length. So it looks like we have everything in there for our cells. So after we've actually created our custom cell, we need to go ahead and create a UI table view cell that uses a UI table view cell superclass. So what we're going to do next is, let me just go ahead and right click. I want a new file, and it's going to be a Cocoa Touch class, and it needs to be a UI table view cell, and the name of it is going to be book table view cell. So I'll click on next, and I'll click on create. So we've created the class. Then what I want to do is I want to associate my book cell with that class. So I'll go ahead, click on my book cell, and then go into my custom class, and I want to associate that with my book table view cell. So now we have that done. So the next step is to go ahead and add outlets from our title, author, genre, and length labels into our class that we just created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the assistant editor, and let me see, it didn't find any dependencies. So let me see, book table view cell. So I'll go ahead and click on that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete the information that's currently in there. And then what we need to do is we need to add 4 outlets. So I'll click on my title label, and then I'll control drag. And we're just going to name them, first one title label, and we'll connect. And then what I want to do is I want to, my label underneath my author, I'll control drag, and that will be my author label. And then I want my genre label, I'll control drag from that, and that will be my genre label. And then finally my length, I'll control drag from the length, and that will be my length label, and I will go ahead and connect. I just want to make sure in my book cell, yeah, it's my book table view cell, book table view cell, so it looks like it's the right classes. The next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and add an update function that will go ahead and update the values. So it'll just be a func update, and then it will be with book, and it will be a book. And we will go ahead and write the title label dot text equals our book.title. Next, it'll be our author label. Text will equal to our book.author. And then it'll be our genre label dot text, and that will equal our book dot genre. And then finally it'll be our length label dot text, and that will equal our book dot length property. Okay, so that's all the code we need for our book table view cell. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Command S to save the code out there. And the last thing I need to do is I need to go into the book table view controller, and we need to update some of the code that we actually see in our cell for row at. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the 2 lines below the let book equals book index path. And what we need to do, the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and cast what gets returned as our book table view cell. And then after we cast that, we can have our let, and then we just need to add one more line where we're just going to update that cell with our book object. That gets passed in. Okay, so it looks like that's all the updates we need to make to our cell for row at, so we should be ready to kick this off. Okay, so our app has come up. You can tell that we definitely have our list, definitely looks a lot different. I'll click on the plus key. I will go ahead and add some information in here. Moby Dick, Herman Melville, genre, fiction, and the length will be 450. I will go ahead and save that. Click on the plus key again. What we're going to do is we're going to add another book. It will be Exodus, the author Leon Uris, the genre is fiction, and the length is 750. Go ahead and save it. So that's what 2 books look like in our list. I will go ahead and click on the first one. I'll change the page length to 375. Make sure we can edit. It's been edited, and then I'll delete the second one. We are able to delete the second one, so congratulations. We have just completed the favorite books lab. So I'll be talking to you next week, where we're going to be going over the labs for 4748 and 49.